Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. President, congratulations to your election. Let me start with saying that human rights are rights that all people have, regardless of their country, gender, sexuality, ethnicity, or any other trait. As we discussed in this room last year in December, over the past 10 years, human rights have become much more protected. This, however, varies between countries. Not everyone enjoys the same protection. People are often marginalized or their human rights violated. Despite the fact that the universal desire for human rights to be respected and protected resonates in each and every country. We are living in times of pervasive conflicts, coup, and crises that have devastating impact on human rights. It is our common duty, our responsibility to fight against the cynical disregard for human rights. Human rights must get back to the center of governance. It is not up to the governments to choose which human rights suit them more than and which less. Failure to respect human rights results in instability, suffering, more inequalities, and economic crisis. Mr. President, Czechia is a staunch supporter of international human rights mechanism. We perceive a growing responsibility on the Human Rights Council for dealing with human rights crises around the globe. Serving on the Council several times, Czechia has demonstrated its strong commitment to the Human Rights Council and its mechanism. Last year, we also proudly served as the Council's presidency, during which we made progress in the implementation of three main priorities: preventive mandate of the Council, participation of all relevant actors in the Council's activities, including civil society, and progress in efficiency of the Council's work. As a significant moment, we perceived the informal meeting of the Council in Prague. Thereby, we renewed a broken tradition, provided a safe space for discussion of the most sensitive issues of the Council's work and its future. At the same time, it contributed to spreading awareness about the Council in my country. Mr. President, we believe that we can still contribute to the work of the Council, and this we candidate for the term of 2025 and 2027. The Council has played an important role in pointing out the appalling atrocities, human rights violations and war crimes by Russia in Ukraine since the full-scale, unprovoked and illegal Russian war of aggression against Ukraine on 24th of February 2022. Officially, more than 10,000 civilians have been killed by the Russian forces. Millions are suffering under Russian occupation. Here, I have to particularly highlight the sad 10-year anniversary of illegal occupation of Ukrainian Crimea and parts of Donbas. Czechia supports Ukraine and its brave people. We are appalled by the unlawful displacement of Ukrainian children to Russia. Therefore, one of our latest initiatives is joint Ukraine-EU letter signed by all EU representatives for human rights, including the Czech government Commissioner for Human Rights, regarding the abduction of children from Ukraine by Russia. The letter is addressed to the UN Special Representative of the Secretary General for Children and Armed Conflict, Mr. Gamba, who holds a specific mandate for the given issue. Russia also violates the rights of its own people. Apart from systematic silencing of independent voices in Russian civil society and free media, there are several hundred political prisoners held. We have not stopped calling for their release. For Alexei Navalny, it is unfortunately too late. Navalny has become a victim of systematic oppression. All other political prisoners must be urgently released. The work of the Special Rapporteur to monitor the conditions in the country is even more important. People in other countries like Iran, Afghanistan, North Korea, Myanmar, Belarus, or China are also suffering from human rights violations. In August 2022, the Office of the High Commissioner published a report providing evidence of arbitrary detention, torture, sexual and gender-based violence in Xinjiang, abuses that may amount to crimes against humanity. So far, no debate over the report recommendations has taken place. It is a responsibility of all of us to protect all human rights. Mr. President, as I conclude, Czechia will work with our international partners to ensure that the Council can function effectively, succeed in its numerous tasks in upholding and protecting human rights, and prevent violations all around the world. I thank you.
price in some parts of the world with their life. It is therefore vital that in South Sudan also, that the mandate of the Commission on Human Rights is extended. Mr. President, let me put it succinctly. Those who violate those rights must be held to account. For our part, the United Kingdom will continue to support all efforts and work most constructively, including this very Council, to ensure that is the case. Human rights, Mr. President, and their protection and strengthening across the world is the ultimate noble objective of this very Council. Defending human rights is not a nice to do, it should not be a periphery, it is fundamental in how we advocate the defending of other rights, of all rights, irrespective of who we are, where we are. Indeed, it is a litmus test, and I end with something that I believe in most earnestly as the United Kingdom's Human Rights Minister, that the real litmus test of defending human rights is not our ability to defend ourselves, to stand up for our own rights. It's the ability to articulate, advocate, and stand up for the rights of others. Mr. President, thank you so much.